Hello and welcome to TUC0's Talks. This is episode 8. We are talking high potential leaders, and this is something that I've been looking forward to and I love to do. So hopefully you will find this very interesting and also pick up a couple tips. But before we get into that, I do want to stop and thank Mark Foster for jumping on and doing the interview on Tuesday. If you have not seen that, go back and take a look. Some great content there. We talk about failure, how it could be a blessing and how we should learn from it. And then also as trust is the number one characteristic that Mark said he was looking for in a leader. And when you break trust, there's so many problems with that. So go back, check it out. It's Tuesday. It was an interview with Mark Foster. Okay, so we're talking about high potential leaders. So what exactly is a high potential leader? Well, first off, they just seem to run at a different level. So athletically, they're strong, they're fast, they're quick, they're usually your number one player, and they're just at a different level. When you are in the business world, they seem to grasp concepts quickly. They probably did very well in school. They probably were well liked. Because people wanted to be around that. The charisma is usually high, and they're usually very calm and understanding of who they are and what they are. All right, so I remember when I was in the TAC world, there was an officer who, number one graduate from the Air Force Academy, sub 9-minute 1.5 mile runner, sub 3-hour ruck, and just was an incredible officer, and I was lucky enough to lead him at one of my stations, and then later on in a deployed situation I was able to meet up with him again, and it was incredible to see him work, and it was a lot of fun, and there were some great lessons that I tried to use there, and we'll go over those in a few. In the same way, in the enlisted world, there was a person that I met, and I knew it right away. You walk in and you're just sort of like, wow, there's something different about this person, and just aggressive and strong, not just physically but personality wise, and you knew right away, all right, I'm going to listen to whatever this guy says. We're doing what he says because he's probably right and he's just that guy. And so both of them ended up doing very well in the military and at the top of their class. So those are high potentials, and to just to help you realize what you're looking for. Okay, so let's talk about these high potential leaders at the lower echelon of when they're learning. So they're young, they're trying to pick things up, and how do you do that? So for athletes that are freshmen, sophomore, or just coming in and have the potential, may not be quite there yet, or maybe just learning how to be the person in charge, or the person that everyone looks to. So the first thing is you want to let them run. They're gonna want to run. They're going to want to move out in front of everybody. Let them go. Let them do what they need to do. Don't try to hold them back. Give them everything that they want, and let them move forward. They will quickly surpass your expectations, and they will move through. If they do not, then you reassess, hey, is this a high potential leader, or did they just start off on the right foot? The second part is don't overcoach them. And so I was blessed to be able to be a part of Soldiers to Sidelines, which if you haven't recognized what that is, go look it up. It's an incredible organization that takes people from the military and puts them into and teaches them how to be a coach. And so I will put that in the link of this YouTube video to make sure that you can check it out. So go check that out. So I was in actually lacrosse coaching, and there was a coach from Georgetown Prep, which is a school up in the DC area, and he's the lacrosse coach there, and he was talking about a player that he had, and everybody knew who it was. He was an incredible high school player, and we asked, how do you coach him? And the coach came back and said, you just let him play. You don't try to overcoach him. He's going to make amazing plays. He's going to make amazing moves. I give him the ball and I don't overcoach him. I don't tell him what to do, and he just makes things happen. And I thought that was interesting because this coach was, one of the best coaches in the country. He has a ton of knowledge. He played professionally, obviously great in college. So why not coach him? Why not sit down and walk through it? And he fully understood how to lead a high potential leader. At that point, you just let them be creative. They'll figure it out as they go. And I'm sure there'll be times where you put your arm around the player if it's a coaching situation, and you're just sort of like, was that the best call? And they'll figure it out. They'll work it. So just don't overcoach. Realize that high potential leaders are usually frustrated. Like a lot of the time, they're very frustrated because. And they're not being conceited, but they literally are better than everyone else at a lot of the things they do. And they feel like they're always having to slow down or explain themselves because cognitively, they're just processing information so much faster. And so it just can be frustrating when you're working with that. So when you're working with them, try to understand from their side. And we talk about how do you lead people and empathetically, right? And so we're thinking for them. Try to think for them and understand when they're getting frustrated and how to separate them and maybe allow them to go on beyond where others are. And the last thing you want to do is really listen. Really listen and try to understand not only what they're saying, but what they're not saying. What is it that they're thinking that they may not want to say, and give them the freedom to say what they need to. And obviously that can't be out in front of everyone, but off to the side, ask them all the time, what are you thinking? What problems do you have? How can I help you? Where can we go with this? And that will effectively open that communication chain, and you can start working through it. So again, high potential leaders, they're always moving out. Don't overcoach them, and listen to what they're saying and try to think empathetically on how to fix it. All right, so that's a player level or an entry level type of understanding. Now, when you become a C-suite leader or someone who's been in for a long time, a senior manager, you're going to have high potential leaders quickly move up to that mid-level leader position. And so there are some dangers to that. And there are some things that can get you into trouble and can really set them up for failure. So let's walk through those. First part is don't overtask them. Your natural propensity is going to be, oh, I've got this young leader who's ready to go. I'm going to give him everything or her everything, and she's going to be able to run this, and she'll take it to a whole nother level. Don't do that. Don't do that. One, allow everyone in the organization to lead and to be a part of it. But two, that person, although that they're processing all this information very quickly, they're still working at a faster pace. If you overload them, it's going to eventually slow them down, and you won't know that until it's too late. So just be careful. Give them time to learn. Don't just throw something at them and then say, all right, you can grab that. I'll give you something else as well. Give them a second to digest it. They'll let you know. They'll be like, all right, I have that. And I remember being in a meeting overseas, and I am briefing a very technical skill level. And this general is sitting at the top of the table, and they're not an expert on what I'm an expert at. He was not. And I start briefing him, and he's like, next. And I was like, I'm not done yet. And in my mind, I'm thinking, no, I need to go on. But I know that he's a high potential leader. I know that he can grasp concepts next. And so I switched to the next. And then about 2 minutes into that, another high technical skill, he's like, got it, next. And he moved on, and he was able to process that information but I wanted to make sure I gave him time to know it. So understand that they're going to process, but give them time. Okay. Give them permission to fail. You have to do this, and this is probably the biggest thing you can do. And again, Tuesday's talk with Mark Foster on failure can be a blessing. You have to instill this into a high potential leader, because a lot of the times they're not used to failing, and they want to stay within the container that they understand. Don't let them. Get outside of what they're comfortable with. Go try new things. It's okay to fail. We'll fix it. We'll learn from it, and we'll move on. The fastest way to get better for high potential leaders is giving them authority to do that. And when they trust you that something went wrong and you don't blow up on them, and you don't tell them that, hey, how could this happen? And you fully expect it and understand it and embrace it. Say, oh, hey, no problem. Let's figure it out. Let's hot wash it. Let's see what went wrong. And then we'll move on. Hey, great job of pushing the boundaries. Something as quick and as easy as that will make a world of difference. You want to be careful about letting your leadership know the level of understanding that this person has and the level of accomplishment that they can do, because your boss will quickly understand, oh, maybe I need to reach down and grab this person and bring them to my level, and so that they can help me. So be careful with that. Although it can be good, there are many times that I've seen bosses see high potential leaders or capabilities and think I can help them even more, bring them up, and they get lost in the shuffle. And your boss is probably much busier than you are, and so they won't have the ability to put that attention on them. You want to develop your person as quickly as you can, but in the correct way, and then when they hit that potential, push them up to that next level. And so just be careful on that. You want to make sure that you give this person early wins. And so you'll see it. Everyone in the office will know who this high potential person is. They may have heard of him or her, and they may be like, well, she's just going to come in here and do a million things right, and this is where it is. If he or she comes in and has an early loss, it can sort of have everybody looking like, who is this person, and they're overrated and they're not able to do things, and it can be a very bad situation. Make sure that you give the person an early win. Give them a softball. Let them have confidence and let them build confidence in others. Obviously, don't hype the person too much. Don't be like, oh, I've got this person coming in, they're going to do great. No, treat them like everyone else coming into the office as far as what you say, and don't try to overhype this person. And then you can treat them a little bit different on giving them skills and giving them tasks, but they need to be able to accomplish that, and people will see it in work. The other thing is when you give a high potential leader an assignment, don't check in on them. And you don't want to be over their shoulder and overwatching. And I said don't check in. That's not accurate. You want to check in, but you don't want to be over the shoulder. You want to ask them what they need. Hey, you've got that task coming up. What do you need? What can I do for you? Is there anything that you're getting stuck on? Is there anybody who you think can help you? And have the conversation. Let them be able to talk through it, but don't give that opinion of, hey, where are you on this? Hey, give me an update on this. That really is not something that high potential people like. They want to be able to run at their own speed, and they will get it done. You just need to make sure that you've given them all the support that they need. And so trust becomes an enormous factor in leading high potential leaders, because they have to know that you're not there to use their skill to promote yourself. They usually don't know who to trust, because everybody wants a part of something that they can produce or do. And it can be a hard thing to break into, but once you do, it's amazing. It is something that they'll come to you years afterwards and talk through and be able to work through. So, all right. So that's all we have for today. Again, high potential leaders are extremely good at working through things, but you have to be able to think for them, think with them, listen to them, empathize with them, and if you can do that, things get so much better, life gets better, and you can move on. All right. So I am really excited about the future. I've been talking with a lot of leaders, and we're talking about interviews, and that should be fun, and I'm excited to bring those to you. Well, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it, and have an amazing weekend. Thanks again. This is TUC0's Wright, checking off.